The Chargers made mass improvements both offensively and defensively with improvements like J.C. Jackson and Khalil Mack or draft picks like Zion Johnson and Isaiah Spiller. But the question I have for you guys that I hope to answer and possibly have you guys help me in the comments is which side of the ball will more greatly impact the winning rate of this team? Which side of the ball will be the key to success? And that's what I hope to analyze here and hopefully come up with a definitive answer for you guys. What will lead to the best chances of a Super Bowl run this year? But if this is your first time on the channel, my name is John. This is the Sports Advocate. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. If you enjoyed this content, give me a like. Also, comment down below some criticisms for me because I'm really trying to improve for you guys. But also, what side of the ball you think is the key to success for this team? And if you really enjoy this content, why not subscribe? Because there's lots of you that are returning for content already that aren't subscribed. And I have content that comes out daily for NFL, NBA, and NHL. But nonetheless, let's not waste any more of your time. Offense or defense? Who will be the reason for a deep run in the playoffs for the Chargers? Now, let's start on the offensive side of the ball. A side of the ball that already has proved a lot of success. Some key players on this team. You have firepower like Justin Herbert, Austin Eckler, Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, and even Gerald Everett that was just brought into this team, as well as your O-line that has plenty of strength and showed a lot of development last year, as well as some improvement this offseason with Corey Linsley, Rashawn Slater, Matt Filer, Zion Johnson, and Jameer Sawyer as the most likely starters, although there is some other options like a chance of Oday Abushi coming back to the team or even Trey Pipkin starting at the right tackle position. But to analyze the likelihood of where they may land this year, it's good to analyze where they were last year. So although there was additions to the team, it's still likely, that how they played this past year will still greatly influence how they play this year. So, for one, they were the number 4 offense in the entire league. They were incredible on the offense side of the ball. In passing, they were 2nd in total passing yards. They were 5th in passing touchdowns. They were 10th in interceptions, which is not the good side of things to be on. They were 6th in sacks allowed, which is a very, very good number, especially compared to some of the numbers we've seen with Phillip Rivers behind the O-line. That was a big, big struggle for a long time. And they were tied for 7th in fumbles by receivers. So overall, passing game was a very, very good side of things, with Justin Herbert being an MVP candidate for a large part of the season until a little bit of a fall off after the bye week. Now, on the other side of things, you have running the ball. They were 21st in rushing yards, but they were tied for 9th in rushing touchdowns. Although we had Austin Eckler, who did very, very good, you didn't have much help after Austin Eckler. So if he missed games, or just if you had to put him in because Eckler was tired, you didn't have a whole bunch of things to do that would greatly impact the likelihood of getting a long run. Now with Isaiah Spiller added to the team, you hope to see that improve. You were also tied for 5th in rushing fumbles, which again is that was on the right side of things. They didn't fumble a lot, which was a big key to Austin Eckler. I don't believe he fumbled a single rushing snap. He fumbled a couple times passing, but I don't think he fumbled a single rushing snap. So they did a good job at keeping the ball in their hands when running the ball as well as in passing. Now, some extra statistics, because there's some of these that just don't perfectly fit underneath passing or rushing. 4th in total yards, which is why they were ranked number 4 offense. 3rd in total touchdowns or total points, which is very, very good. You're scoring on a great basis. 1st in 2-point conversions, tied for 6th in 3rd down conversions, and they were 1st in 4th down conversion rate. So the offense did very, very good last year. Being number 4 is an incredible, incredible stat. But not only that, you still have that improvement with Isaiah Spiller being a good backup for Austin Eckler to take some weight off of his shoulders. And when Isaiah Spiller's in there, it allows the opportunity for the team still to have good running downs. You have Zion Johnson, who you add to the team that would hopefully greatly impact this O-line and improve them dramatically. Some people have him being a Pro Bowl his first year, or at least a Pro Bowler throughout his entire career. And that's very, very good news when you have Corey Linsley and Rashawn Slater that are both already Pro Bowlers. You also bring in a guy like Gerald Everett at the tight end position who showed some development with the Rams a couple years back, and if he's the tight end one, which he likely could be if Donald Parham is not playing at his full potential, he's going to see a lot of options, as Justin Herbert does like that tight end position a lot, especially in play action. Not only that, but you still add some depth. There's depth guys like Will Clapp, Jameer Sawyer, and plenty of other options there on the O-line that will add depth, so when injuries occur, you're still going to be able to run at full potential. And you have development on these young guys, as well as Mike Williams, who maybe isn't young, but another year in a system where it's clear that they're trying to set him up to be that wide receiver one, as well as having guys like Donald Parham and Jalen Guyton and Joshua Palmer, these guys that are young, still developing, and have plenty of potential. But I think we need to look at the defense side of things. Although there were struggles last year, we've seen how much development has been added to this team. So some key players, the back core, the DBs, and the linebackers. You have Derwin James, incredible Pro Bowler. Asante Samuel Jr., a guy that looked incredible before some of his injuries in his rookie year. J.C. Jackson, a guy that was just brought to this team, Pro Bowler. Nasir Adderley, another young guy who has plenty of potential. And Michael Davis, who was the cornerback one last year for this team. And not to mention, you have guys like Kenneth Murray and Drew Tranquil, who are younger guys that have room to develop. Now, on the D-line, huge improvements. Really, the only starter, or overall the only guy we kept, was Joey Bosa. You bring in Khalil Mack on the other side of the ball to help take pressure off Joey Bosa. You bring in Sebastian Joseph Day and Austin Johnson to help with the running downs. You also draft a couple guys like Agbonia, and you're bringing a lot of good development to this team and a lot of extra power to this team, a lot of strength to this line. But again, let's look at some of these past years, especially this past year, because it was a little bit more of a struggle than some of us would have hoped and predicted. Last year, they were the 23rd ranked defense. Now, it did come to one side of the defense that really struggled and made you so low, but let's also talk about the passing a little bit. They were 12th in passing yards allowed, which is not a terrible number. You're right around the middle. Tied for 16th in passing touchdowns allowed. Tied for 23rd in interceptions, so not a lot of interceptions for a team that has plenty of guys that can still ball hawk on this team, as well as 25th in sacks, which is not good when you have a guy like Joey Bosa on your team. But you didn't have guys like Khalil Mack and Sebastian Joseph Day on this team last year. You had people that really were young, like Uchenna Nwosu, or guys that really didn't have, the great potential for the getting a sack, like Jerry Tillery, who is still currently on the team, and some other guys like Linval Joseph, who was great in run early on in the year, but fell off slowly. So although the passing itself was not terrible, overall some of the turnover rates and sacks were not great. Now rushing, the 9th in rushing yards, so you were allowing a lot more than other teams. They were tied for 26th in yards per carry, which means the people you were going against were often getting way more yards per carry that they were touching the ball. Tied for 29th in rushing touchdowns. And for defense, a high number means good, as always. So a high number means like you're allowing less, and a low number means you're allowing more. So like, say you're first in rushing yards allowed, your number is going to be smaller. So instead of like offense, a high number is good. On this, it's like a low number is good. So like 2,000, and then like 20th is like 3,000. Being at 20th is obviously not a good thing, but having 3,000 yards against you, not good at all. I assume most of you understand that, but I want to clear it up just a little bit, because sometimes when you go to NFL Network and you go and press who is first, it'll pop up who is actually the worst, and so you have to like flip it. Just want to clear that up. Tied for 29th in rushing touchdowns, and they were last in rushing first downs. They allowed the most first downs by running in the entire league. Now some extra statistics, again, because they don't fall in the perfect category. 23rd in yards allowed total, which gets you your 23rd defense. Tied for 29th in points allowed. Not good. You're allowing a lot of points, even if you are third in total points on the offense. 29th is not good at all. 31st in third down conversions allowed. Very, very high. But they were tied for first in fourth down conversions. So not a lot of fourth downs were converted on the Chargers defense, but a lot of third downs were. Now, there were third and forced fumbles, which was a big key to Joey Bosa and his ability to strip the ball from the quarterback, but they didn't recover as many as they actually stripped out. I didn't write it down. I think they were below the top 10 in recoveries, even though your third and forced fumbles is not a good thing. Now, obviously, this team brought huge acquisitions for this defense to improve. You went from a D-line that was questionable outside Joey Bosa to a very, very, very good front line and one of the best pairings on the line in the entire league, some people would say, as well as bringing in J.C. Jackson, a top 5, top 10 cornerback in the whole league, to go with Derwin James, who is a top 5, top 10 safety in the league. Both of them were Pro Bowlers last year. You also bring in, a couple more years of development with people like Kenneth Murray, with Drew Tranquill, with Asante Samuel Jr., with Nas Adderley. These guys that are young still have more years to develop, and they have plenty of development still to do. And you bring in some great top talent to this defense, which is going to allow you to improve on passing and especially running downs on the defense side of things. Now, who will be the key? Let's go over a couple, thought processes through things. So the offense already proved its ability to lead to success, but the team still misses playoffs last year because of the defensive struggles, we'll call it. They end up missing the playoffs by one running play, because the defense doesn't stop them from getting a first down. The Raiders are in position to kick it instead of kneeling it out, because if they wouldn't have got that first down, they wouldn't have been able to kick it. And as well as a lot of other times during the year where there were struggles, like against the Texans, you lose, and although your offense did struggle, so did your defense, and some other tough games. Even though you win in the Browns game, you're allowing way, way, way too many points against an offense that isn't extremely good. So even though the offense did great, number 4, your defense did hold you back from getting to the land that you want to get, which is the playoffs. Now, the offense did improve on the line and adds more development, which will likely lead to improvement, development, all that stuff. And if you're already number 4 this past year on the offense side of things, ranking-wise, it's likely that having improvement and adding new guys to a team that are better than what you had is going to lead to another top 10 offensive year, which is very, very good news, which makes you maybe lead a little bit towards the offense side of the ball being more of a key because of, how well they have already done. They're going to likely do very good again. But on the other side of things, the defense improved dramatically on all aspects, from the line all the way to the safeties in the back, and has many, many improvements and lots of people to develop in. And a lot of people believe that they will be a top 10 defense this coming year. So you have a top 10 offense, a top 10 defense. That would be great, great news. But, at this point, you could bring opinion, and, everything here is an opinion, but you could bring a couple more points to say offense is more important or defense is more important. Offensively, you score more, you're going to win more games, but defensively, you allow them to score less, you're taking pressure off your offense. It goes both ways. You need both to do good to make the final run. But let's look at some statistics for the past year, and let's look at guys who won the Super Bowl these past few years. Rams, Bucks, Chiefs, and who was the 4th? Eagles, Patriots, right? Yeah, that's right. Patriots, and then the Eagles were the 5 years ago. So let's look at the 4 most recent ones and where their offense and their defense landed, because I think that will give us a good list of things here. So offensively, the Rams had the 9th offense. Defensively, they had the 17th. So top 10 offense and a below half defense. Buccaneers had the 7th offense and the 6th defense. So they do have 2 top 10 offense and defense, which is what some people believe the Chargers will have. Now you have one team that has a better defense and one team that has a better offense that have won it. Next up, the Chiefs have the 6th offense and the 17th defense. And again, you have a great offense with a defense that's slightly below half. The Patriots have the 5th offense and the 21st defense. Again, a top offense and a lower tier defense. And the Eagles, who I did not write down, I think had the 9th offense and were somewhere around the middle for defense. So that's 4 of the last 5 years that the offense has been better than the defense, and 5 years in a row where a top 10 offense wins the Super Bowl, which really makes you lead personally, which is my answer. What will be the key? What will be a bigger reason for success? It's going to be the offense again. The offense carried this defense last year almost to a playoff position point where they could have had a chance to make a run. With the 4th defense and the 4th offense and the 23rd defense, the offense almost carried this team into position to be in the playoffs. Now, they do barely miss it, but that only leads me to believe that this offense that will do very, very good again this year, as we all expect, will be another main reason for success this year. Even if the defense improves, which will be a dramatic help, I think the offense is more important, and that is helped by these recent years' developments. Now, one key to remember for all of us Chargers fans, and I'm sorry, we also need a special teams that does good. And not to bring up any bad memories, but 2010, this Chargers team had the number 1 offense, the number 1 defense, the worst special teams in the entire league, went 9-7 and missed the playoffs. So, it doesn't matter how good your offense and defense is if your special teams is just terrible. And I have that big bold down here. Don't forget special teams. 2010. I'm going to show you my whiteboard because I do have a whiteboard, and you guys probably don't know that. We have a little bit of scribbles and stuff like that, just like key points. You know, some of the names up here, the numbers, so I remember that. Look at the bottom here. Look at that big handwriting. Don't forget special teams, 2010. It still haunts me, and I don't want it to ever happen again. Please don't fall. And I really hope that this team doesn't forget about special teams. Now, you do have J.K. Scott as your punter. You do have Dustin Hopkins as your kicker. You just brought in DeAndre Carter as your kick returner. You have a Pro Bowl talent long snapper. Oh, I'm forgetting his name. I apologize to you. That is a terrible look for me. But your special teams is in a good position. I just don't want to miss the playoffs because special teams another year. But offense or defense was the key to this video. Special teams is extremely important. Don't forget that. Please, Chargers, don't forget the special teams. But offense or defense, both extremely, extremely important. We all know that. But I think, especially with the recent years, offense has proved that no matter how good or bad your defense is, if your offense is good enough, you can force a win in tough games. Tough games. I mean, think about it. Let's look a little bit farther back. Patriots, Falcons. I think we all remember the Super Bowl fondly. Maybe not fondly. I think we all remember it, though, because it was very iconic. The Falcons' offense starts tripping on itself, and they end up losing because the Patriots' offense goes crazy. If that Falcons' offense, it doesn't matter what their defense is doing. If their defense allows all those points, it doesn't even matter. If the Falcons' offense converts just 1 or 2 more first downs and 1 field goal, they win the game because their offense was in position to win it, and their defense did allow it. Their defense could have been the reason why they won it, but the offense was a key reason why they lost because they couldn't convert on those first downs when they needed them most. The only real time that a defense was the major reason why a team won is the Patriots Seahawks with that terrible throw on the inside the 5-yard line. That's the only time where the biggest moment, I would say, is on the defensive side of things. In recent memory, I'm definitely missing some huge plays on the defense side of things, but I do think the offense has greater importance and relevance than the defense when you're looking at potential deep runs. Now, comment down below what you think. If you think I'm wrong, comment. I will have a conversation with you. I love having a conversation. Don't go crazy and escalate it and where you're just like freaking out on me. Like, no one wants to talk to people like that. But if you want to have a conversation, I will have a conversation with you. If you enjoyed this content, give me a like. And if you really, really enjoy this content, do something that would greatly impact my day. Go ahead and subscribe. If you enjoy this content, first off, it'd be greatly appreciated and noticed. But I have content coming out daily, NFL, NBA, and NHL videos. And a lot of you guys already are returning on a consistent basis. So why not subscribe just so that you can see me on the page and maybe don't have to stumble across the video like 4 days later. And you know, this past couple weeks, I've been doing extremely well compared to what I had been doing. And I just want to thank you guys for that. Just a quick thank you. This past video marks the first time in my entire YouTube career where I've had 5 videos in a row with over 100 views. Yes, that's not crazy. That might mean nothing to you guys, but that does mean a huge amount to me. I also had the first video of an NBA video to ever go over 100 views. And now I'm staring down my first, in the past week, and now I'm staring down the chance of my first NBA video to be right about 500 views. I have an NBA video that's sitting right there, as well as my Jimmy Butler video, I think, closing in on 300, and it just means the world to me. A couple of weeks ago, I was freaking out about a 100,000 view video. That video is over 2,000. I have another video that's only a couple hundred off of 2,000. You guys have been killing it for me. I want to thank you guys so much. It means so much to me. You guys are doing incredible. And everything that you guys do, just from watching the video, giving me a thumbs up, commenting, have a conversation, or subscribing, it all means so much to me. And I just want to thank you guys for that. But as always, I hope it taught you something today. I know there was a lot of information here. I'd love to have a conversation with you guys, but it's very good to have fans that are very informed about the information so they can have a good, fluent conversation instead of just fighting each other nonstop in the comments or whatever. I stumbled a lot. Hope made you smile, hope made you laugh. That's something that's really important to me. Affect someone else's day in a great way, because as we know, we can all have a great day if we just put in the effort. And as always, you guys all be safe out there.
But something deep inside won't let